Welcome, class. As you can see, I don't have any students in this class right now because I just dismissed you guys, but I forgot to unpause the recording. So we went through the entire class and did not record. I really think it's important that there's a record of our final exam review and the due dates, just in case someone missed class or you wanted to go back and review. So I'm doing a kind of quick dry run so you can use the material to study and hopefully get the highest grades you can. So we'll start with the announcements that I made. Just a reminder that Wednesday there is quiz number 6 and the current event due. The current event will relate to humans' influences on the ocean. That is the unit that we covered. The quiz 6 review is found in congruence with the quiz. And here's the review sheet. A few highlights. We talked about bycatch, and that's non-targeted species that get caught along with your target species. They're generally discarded if they can't be sold, right back into the food chain. A few of the case studies that we touched upon, I recommend you go back and review or read in the text the assigned chapters. The dolphins and the tuna. Dolphin safe tuna is a thing, and it hasn't been a thing my whole life. They used to use dolphins to spot tuna because they have similar food stores and corral the tuna with gill nets, and a lot of the dolphins would get corralled as well. Pitchers kind of made it out, and it was shocking. The public boycotted tuna, and that economic pressure led to dolphin safe tuna. And that's just one of several examples where public outrage has spurred change, but it's the only example I'm aware of that the economic boycott really made an impact. I know sea turtles with their TED device, a turtle exclusion device, TED, because they were also damaged in trolling, led to that change, but that did not cause the outrage that the dolphin safe tuna did. The classes of pollutants in the marine environment, please review them. Heavy metals and things like that. Those are the different groups of pollutants. So go back and review that list from the PowerPoint. Your oil spills, the Gulf Horizon and the Exxon Valdez, go back and review those. The largest, the Gulf Horizon, and then you have the Exxon Valdez. DDT, go back and study a little bit about that pesticide that biomagnifies in the environment, how it reached the top of the food chain. And because the bald eagles were declining to the point of near extinction, that forced our government, Nixon was the president then, to establish the Endangered Species Act. The EPA soon followed, the Environmental Protection Agency. Superfund came after Love Canal. So go back and give a look-see at that. Look at the heavy metals, mercury, lead, copper, and find their sources. The pregnant women have a definite susceptibility to the toxins that have built up in fish, and these higher level fish like swordfish, sharks, kingfish, they build up toxins because of that biomagnification, and they should be avoided by pregnant women because the developing brain is definitely affected by those heavy metals. The fertilizers and sewage, nitrates and phosphates, that are the chemicals in them, do lead to these harmful algal blooms. The type of trash that is most of the debris in the ocean is the plastics, but on the beach, it's the cigarettes. Cigarette butts are the most common. Now, countries oh yeah, America hasn't really banned the disposable plastic bags. Some have, America certainly hasn't. Carbon dioxide is the most common greenhouse gas. When you look at climate, solar energy, of course, volcanic eruptions, at first it cools because the sun's blocked out, but then all the gases can lead to a warming trend after the dust settles, if you will. Earth's wobbling in its orbit certainly affects world climate, and tectonic movement affects ocean circulation, and that certainly also changes our climate. The air bubbles trapped in glaciers are paleo or ancient climatological data that is used to extrapolate what ancient atmospheres was like. Social acceptance of human-caused climate change, it lags behind the scientists' perception because of geopolitical disagreement, if you will. Combustion and respiration are very similar because they are using oxygen to burn a fuel to make energy and producing oxides as the pollutant. The predicted consequences, ocean acidification, sea level rise, increased farming problems, increased storm, increasing ocean temperatures. All these are caused by global warming in light of CO2 levels. So that's just a quick review for quiz number 6, which is due Wednesday. I'll run through the final exam review as well, and then post this. So at least we have a record to kind of go through again. Again, my apologies for not recording it the first time. I probably did a better job answering questions with students present. All right, here's the review that you need to turn in by Monday, in your own handwriting. Remember, final exam, review, extra credit, all due Monday. What drives surface and deep ocean currents? Well, surface currents are driven by global winds, and deep ocean is thermal haline, so it's density differences caused by temperature and salinity. Local currents like longshore drift, the prevailing winds cause a current in that direction, and the drift actually erodes beaches. Upwelling, water moving to the surface, bringing up nutrient-rich water, very good for biodiversity. Downwelling, water being pushed down, that's bad for biodiversity. Rip currents is the return of water, often quite violently, leading to drownings or people getting caught in them and pushed out to sea. Now, the ocean gyras study that map that we distributed. Take a look at the North Atlantic Gyra or Sargasso Sea. You can see where the the equatorial current splits, enters the Gulf loop current, and then reunites with the other part, which is the Gulf Stream. That's the strongest current that moves up the east coast of the United States, battling with the Labrador current coming down from the north. And then you have the El Nino, La Nina in the Pacific Ocean, the Peruvian current and the equatorial current there. We also have that upwelling and then that backslosh causing downwelling. We also have the California current. So review these ocean gyras. Concentrate on the North Atlantic and then the North and South Pacific. The types of ocean waves, remember you have the wind wave, the seismic sea wave or tsunami, and the tides caused by the gravity of the moon and to a lesser extent the sun. You'll need to review what a semi-diurnal or twice daily tide is. You'll need to review a diurnal, what a once daily tide is. You'll need to review the mixed tides, which usually are 2 times a day of variable heights, but they tend to break down toward the neap tide. Study spring and neap tide as well. Walking from the beach across a barrier island, you'll start off with the beach, the foreshore, right at the water's edge. Behind you, you'll be offshore a little bit. Moving forward, you'll cross over a rack line, and that rack line has debris in it, shells, trash, whatever washes up, kind of tends on a line. And then you'll be on the back shore. You'll move through the dunes, into the scrub, through the maritime forest, back to the scrub, and then you're at the edge of the intercoastal where you'll be mangroves, salt marsh, mud flat, and then in the intercoastal you'll have seagrass, and then shipping channels which have been dredged out since World War II. So that barrier island is what we call a bar-built estuary because it's a large sandbar. The other estuaries are the drowned river caused by when sea level rose, when the glaciers melted. The fjord, also caused by sea level rising, but those are glacial valleys filling up with seawater. The last are on active plate boundaries. You have tectonic estuaries like San Francisco Bay or Puget Sound. Into marine biology, we looked at the domains of life. We have the archaea, the eubacteria, and the eukarya or eukaryotic cells. Look at the differences between the prokaryotic cell, no nucleus, no membrane-bound organelles, and the eukaryotic cell, nucleus, membrane-bound organelles, very complex. We did cover a chart with the 6 kingdoms of life. Please learn that chart from the PowerPoint. The kingdoms are archaeobacteria, eubacteria, protista, fungi, plant, and animal. Look at the characteristics and examples of each. The 3 basic lifestyles of the marine environment are plankton, nekton, benthon. Please review them and write a sentence or 2 on each. In the planktonic lifestyle, holoplankton are organisms that spend their whole life as plankton, and meroplankton are organisms that only spend a portion of their life, usually the larva, but only a portion as plankton. Then they grow into something else. Looking at light, the euphotic, epiphotic, dysphotic, light generally has enough for photosynthesis, and then fades to only enough for vision, and then you'll have no light in the aphotic zone. We looked at chemo and photosynthesis. Chemo uses Earth's chemicals, usually hydrogen sulfides, and photosynthesis uses light, and they disassemble carbon dioxide and reassemble it into carbohydrates for energy. So review those reactions. Review the 3 types of macro or large algae, the green algae, chlorophyta, the brown algae, phaeophyta, and the red algae, rhodophyta. Review red tides. Those are dinoflagellates. And Carina brevis is our local dinoflagellate that causes red tide. We also have a chart with the animal phyla, Porifera, Cnidaria, Ctenophora, Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropodia, Echinodermata, Porifera. chordata. And we talked about some classes. For instance, the fish are broken up into agnatha, which are jawless, chondrichthyes, which are sharks, skates, and rays, and bony fish, osteichthyes. So review those classes as well, like mollusca, bivalve, gastropod, cephalopod. There are essays. One of them is going to be on the video, so please review the 3 videos that we watched. Also, there will be essays from the lecture, Selected Environments in the Marine Environment, and you can see rocky shores, beaches, coral reefs, kelp forests, deep sea communities. So please go back to that lecture and reacquaint yourself with them. Finally, eutrophication in the Gulf of Mexico. So that is a quick run through of the review sheet. I apologize for not recording our lesson, but I feel that by posting this, I'll help a couple of students, hopefully. It's been a pleasure being your teacher. And I wish you nothing but success through the rest of your educational career and life in general. Thank you so much for taking this class. I hope to see you in another.